Welcome back to New Amsterdam Moreno, the podcast for creatives. It is I, the mayor, Flobo Boys, in the mayor's office, hang with people who are doing the dang thing. And Art and me, I have a contemptuous relationship. Art has kicked my behind plenty of times. And if you're a long-term listener, I almost didn't graduate high school. I didn't have an art class credit, but my guess has made art her business. Please welcome from Accomawac, Wisconsin, Anjl Rodee. How's it going?
Woo! So great. I am just so happy to be here. So excited.
Yeah, let's talk about Brushcapades. In fact, I love the name. But that is
another word I made up.
Yeah, let's talk about how you got that word made up. Like, you sit there with a napkin and have a moment of clarity, or was it like instant thing, lightning?
It was slightly instant. This is what happened. I first heard of paint night 10 years ago and thought, oh, as a comedian and an artist, I'm uniquely qualified to do that for a living. So I gave them a call and they said, awesome, you can do it on Tuesday nights at this bar. And I thought, no, I'm just going to buy easels. So I did. And I didn't, I kind of looked at some of the other names of these companies that were out there. And my thought to make the business a little bit different was I wanted to transport people to a place. So if we were painting the Eiffel Tower, we'd eat French things and drink French wine. So escapades is the back half of that word, brush for painting.
Yeah.
So I am in a habit of making up words for things.
Hey, I like this. Well, it's funny because we connected because I am, I guess, I won't say former dormant comedian myself. I got pretty much sat down to the pandemic when they said I wasn't essential. When you have an idea and you want to mix a little bit of that comedy, a bit of that levity to it, if I can be a bit cynical, there are people out there that say, "Oh, are you serious about it? Is it still a thing? Like, what? How do you show people that no, this was something you really are passionate about and not doing it for a bit?" That's the case.
The art thing, you mean?
Yeah, Brushcapades.
Oh, well, I'm pretty much living it. I mean, the reason I do it is because I'm passionate about it, right? And the comedy is my vehicle. It's my way to get people out of the, oh, I'm not really an artist and I don't have talent. It's not my thing. It's talking to my choir, Mr. Flobo. It's my vehicle. And so here's what I really am passionate about. And this is what I feel is my niche, which is why I've been so successful with what I am doing. It's not the comedy thing, but when I went from doing party events, nighttime drinking wine, people know what they're coming for and they sign up for it. They know why they're there. When I started doing corporate events, that's not you signing up. That's your boss telling you where to be at 2 p.m. on a Thursday, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm getting the gamut of emotions from people who are in there. A third of the people would rather be anywhere else but in art class. And this flabbergasted me as somebody who really enjoys it. I'm like, what is that about? Because there's nothing but goodness that comes from that. And I started addressing that. And so my class is just as much TED Talk about why, yes, you are an artist, and here's why it's good for you, and here's why you should do it, as it is me teaching them how to paint a thing. I use the comedy as my vehicle to get people out of their heads a little bit and not so worried about what's coming out on the paper. If your brush hits the canvas, you've nailed the activity for what the activity is for. And that is my niche. I'm super passionate about the fact that this is not just something that I can do, but something the world needs.
Sure. If I can offer my professional opinion, art is just too hard. I mean, there's people out there who are pros at it, people who do these abstract things. I don't know what I'm doing right. Everyone tries to encourage me, but I just feel like I'm just flabbergasted when I have a canvas. Patooey, bah humbug. Don't bring me out to a paint and sip. Now, is that something you hear a lot?
All day long. All day long. But think about this, though. Cave art is tens of thousands of years old, right? And proof of agriculture, less than 5,000 years old. It has been more important for us as a creature to express ourselves than to eat on the regular. And we are the only creature that does it. We are the only living thing that makes things out of nothing just to do it, not because we need a nest or to impress a mate. And it's inherent to what we are. We've only been selling art to each other less than 500 years. that is a blip in time, but that is the marker that everybody uses as to whether or not they should be doing it, right? If it's not good enough to sell, my sister got all the talent. My art teacher told me I will never, and those messages are, in my opinion, was the start of the we're not good enough. Because if we are inherently creative artists, if we are inherently that, and we've been telling ourselves since 6 years old that we're not good at it, whew, doesn't that count for a lot of unhappiness on the planet?
Right.
I really think so. And even if it doesn't account for the unhappiness, it is a gateway to get there. And when I say happiness, I don't mean just like, yeah, the world is great. I mean like self-confidence, outside the box thinking, better sleep, help with anxiety and depression. All of those things start inside. And I love technology as much as the next guy, but the more we get away from doing and into, things automatically being done for us, the more we get away from what we are. The art, it's a personal thing. It doesn't have to be on Insta or Etsy. Yeah.
Sure. No, I've been perusing Instagram probably too much to my detriment. But there's so many thought leaders on that platform talking about mind state and shifting and mentalities, and which is kind of just other words for perspectives, right? When it comes down to art, I know if you have to draw Superman, there's rules that you have to do, like as far as like angles and
Muscles.
shapes and things. Right, exactly. Yeah. Superman with a dad bod is going to be the next thing.
Yeah.
But like I am seeing someone who is an artist. She does the whole like canvas and everything, and I always feel like I want to support her when we have nights at home. But I'm just like, I don't know if I can express myself the way I want to. I feel like there's an idea in my head. It doesn't come out the way I want. And I go, fully. Now, to drill down my question, is there a sort of educational aspect to telling people, hey, look, enjoy this? Or is it kind of like, hey, try again? Because I feel like there's almost a divide when it comes to that kind of mentality.
I think in a way, you kind of set yourself up for failure if you're doing it with somebody who is at a certain level, because comparing ourselves, it just comes naturally to us. When I teach a class, the first thing I have them do is I have a blank canvas and I'm like, okay, first thing we're going to do is draw. I watch the panic for a second on their eyes. I have them put a line in the middle of the canvas. I'm like, guys, we're done drawing. We're nailing this. Who'd have thought art would be so attainable and so enjoyable? And everybody's like, okay, yeah, I got this. Then we paint the top half of the canvas blue for the sky, bottom half green for the grass. And now you're just storytelling on top of that. A red square easily becomes a barn. A green puffball easily becomes a tree. So it's kind of like having a newborn baby. At first, they just sleep and they eat. Well, okay, I can handle that. And then as they need new things, your skills develop with the baby, right? And then you got a teenager and you're an expert at a teenager, but you would not remember what to do with a newborn. Art is like that. It is the journey. And again, it's the manual doing that is the inherent thing. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I've already been sold. You got me running through a wall after this. I'm gonna hit up Joanne's and Michael's.
I'm gonna have you and your girl come into a class.
Let's be doing like puffballs and barns. So just shifting gears a bit, you decide on the brand, you decide on the name, and I guess the next step here is getting a client role. Or did you test the business first? So when you tried to build that brand, what was those stages like when you're like, look, I'm actually making this a legitimate enterprise?
Yeah, I totally practiced first because I had never attended a paint and sip. I had no idea what goes on in those things. So I came up with a painting idea. Then I bought 24 of everything, the easel and the paints and the stuff. And then I invited clients and coworkers, people who lived in my building, relatives, and I just had a gamut of people and practiced on them. And then opened the doors. And it went great. I was in Seattle. So Seattle is, Amazon, Microsoft, Facebook, is Google, they're all there. So it quickly turned into corporate events. And that's how it started. It was, I let it be a baby, but I know that my message was important. And I know that what I did was enjoyable. So, yeah.
What kind of, I know you said some corporate and some individual, but what kind of clients call you up and say, oh, we need your expertise?
This is the craze. Okay, so my clients include Netflix, Clorox, Facebook, Dropbox, you name a big company, I have worked with them, right? Around the world,
Yeah.
because thank you, pandemic. That sounded horrible. But here's the fun, craziest one. I taught a class of Disney executives. I'm like, don't you have somebody down the hall
Yeah.
that can do this?
They're
So that was
busy.
that was the most, yeah, they were, I'm sure they were busy doing more important things. That was the most insane thing. I taught caricature, how to draw caricatures to a bunch of Disney executives.
That's pretty cool, because I bet
Yeah.
on LinkedIn they'd be like, "What this art class taught me about being a good manager," and totally like blow it out of proportion or what have you. Well, that's pretty fun. I mean, is any kind of client kind of like more challenging or more fun than the other, or you treat everyone pretty much the same?
For the most part, I treat everybody the same. I do try to match energy because different companies have different energy. And I tell people that if Bob Ross and Dory the fish had a baby, it would be me. My energy ranges in excited puppy who's had too much sugar kind of range.
Right.
Every once in a while, I'll get a group of people who their cameras are off and they're muted. And as an improv comedian, that is tough to deal with.
Absolutely.
It is. That's so tough. But I do try to match the energy in the room. I do try to engage them and get them out of their heads a little bit. Yeah.
I'm smiling because you said the paparazzi story. So like you could make the mistakes, but you forgot you made them. Like
So when I teach a class, I'm usually holding the canvas here and I'm painting like this. I'm watching myself in the camera paint it. So am I precise? No.
Right.
Because I'm doing it this way, and I'll be like, oh, that is now a bird. Now there's a bird.
Yeah.
And I'm just laughing as I'm doing it too. And it is just fun. And I really tend to find, and no one is going to like their work in the moment. And I have no misguidance about that. And I don't like mine in the moment too. But I do know that a week from now, I'll like it more than I do today. So
Sure.
I'll talk about that too. And
Yeah,
it's all a journey. It's not like you get good to the point where you're like, okay, now I'm good at it. I'm done painting. No, it's all the activity is the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, your answer inspired me a bit. I do think that, especially as we get to a certain age and we do have to take care of other human beings and children, that there isn't many spaces where you're allowed to suck at things. Like
Right.
I have a blog that I call Open Beta. I write it, it's public, but I don't advertise because I wanted a place to make mistakes. I go bowling where if I gutter the ball at 3:00 in the afternoon, only Gladys and Mortimer are going to notice. You know what I mean? I like it. So it's kind of cool that you get to teach people to make mistakes. And that's okay to make those errors or what have you.
Yeah, I like to make the joke during the class that if paint hits a canvas, you've nailed the activity. And I'm just going to recheck with HR, but nobody's losing their job today.
I mean, you, sir, come with me.
Yeah.
Kids removed from the class. I'm not doing it.
And the other thing that I do is halfway through the class, I make everybody show where they're at. And at this point, everybody's still just the half blue and half green and a couple of things. But when I start to see the doubt show up in their face because their painting doesn't look like mine, I have them show and have them all do it at the same time. And without prompting, everybody starts doing this. Oh, Bob, I love your sky. And oh, Jane, I love how you did the water. And they start I said, you notice that you're way kinder to everybody else than you are to yourself. And everybody's thinking, mine sucks, but everybody else has something so creative and cool and different. Yeah. It's just a great place to practice that self-kindness and just a better message to yourself.
Oh man, self-kindness, that's heavy. So
it's heavy.
Yeah, talked about how you said that over time you tend to appreciate your work more.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's just we're just naturally judgy, and for no other reason other than we've got the gift of this brain that is capable of judging. Again, no other creature has a brain that does that either. Although my cat is very, very judgy. But and so and it's just natural for us to want to be good and whatever. But If you can have the grace to say to yourself, okay, this is a wonky Eiffel Tower, but I have a playful personality and my painting is playful. If you can change your message around that way about this little piece of art, then maybe you can do that with yourself as well. And it is true. I can say, I paint for a living and I do commission things, and I am not happy with it in the moment, but I yell at myself the entire time, I'm nailing this, and I nailed that, and I nailed this. Because I know a week later I'll go back and I'll look and I'll go, oh, okay, this isn't that bad, not so bad. In the moment though, it's automatic. We don't think about it.
Sure.
We just do it.
Oh yeah. It's funny because again, like 20 minutes ago, I was like, ugh, art. I don't know. Now I'm like, I'm gonna probably try to do some barns. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're very motivating. I got to give you.
Yes, my job here is done.
Yeah, exactly. Good night, everybody. Welcome back to Motivate the Host. I'm your podcast here. But I got to ask about the parts of your business that aren't fun. And this actually impacts a lot of first-time business owners, owners of color, women, about pricing, invoicing, getting your money, tracking that down. What's that like with the divide after having so much fun with literal art? Now the commerce part of your business.
Yes. Such a thing. So I got to a point where I thought to myself, okay, I went to drawing school. I can, because I learned how to draw for a living. I didn't get any business courses. Do I go back to school now? And for me, the answer was no. I'm going to hire somebody that is going to help me make good decisions. And there's a gamut of help you can get from someone who will do it all for you, or someone who will give you advice. And so that was super important for me. Also,
wait, when you say do it all for, you mean like hired goons breaking legs, or do you mean like something a bit more legal?
Leg breaking goons. Again, I got a cat for that.
Fair enough.
No, I like being my own supply chain. This would not have occurred to me had I not hired a business strategist who said to me, okay, this is where you're at. Where do you want to go? How soon do you want to get there? And then just help me plot out ways to get there. I have paint with my name on it now. That would not have occurred to me without that. So that is important. But another great resource that if the money is a thing and totally fine, is find a support group of like-minded people that you will inspire and will inspire you. And those, I have a group of women who are also entrepreneurs, business owners, who our businesses are nothing alike.
Sure.
But every time we meet, I get something from the chats that we have. And also Google helped me, because like I said, I have never attended a business that works like mine does, but there are tons of them out there. Oh, how do they price it?
Yeah.
Do it, it's a starting point anyway.
Sure. Maybe because I have my bias, or maybe the guest I have, it's kind of refreshing to hear you say, look, I got a knowledge base and I went for outside help. I think a lot of us, maybe we think it's part of the journey is to go out there, make a bunch of mistakes and go, look, Instagram, here's what I learned this week. So that decision to actually like go out your network to find that, was that like something that was just like, oh, look, I don't want to have this fail kind of situation? Or were you seeing some direction you weren't liking, you wanted to course correct? What made you decide to go in that direction?
When my business was all local, I was comfortable in how it had grown to that point. When I started going international and started needing to figure out how to do things on a level I was not familiar with, right? Then I started to really have self-doubt. And do I put clamps on my business? Do I keep it here because this is my comfort level? There's a guy, oh man, I wish I could think of his name right now. The guy who wrote the book, I Will Make You Rich. Are you familiar?
No.
He's Find it. I Will Make You Rich. It's I can't think of his name right now, but he was a guest on a podcast, and he said something about what is good to spend your money on, and he spends his dollars on convenience, meaning he has his groceries delivered to him because his time is more valuable than the time it takes to go when you live in a city. You gotta go
Sure.
find your
Yeah, yeah.
car, and you gotta go out, all of that. And that was very valuable advice for me, and I put it in the context of my business rather than just his was just life in general.
Right.
But my time is more valuable doing my business than it is trying to figure out how to do the businessy stuff well. Yeah.
Right. The businessy stuff.
The businessy stuff. Mm.
Is that Ramit Sethi? Is that his book?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I Will Teach You to Be Rich, available now on Amazon. I'll definitely check that out after this because, hey, I like being rich. I mean, it sounds like
Right?
fun.
It's so good. You're gonna thank me. I am an old lady, but that book is
You're not old. Stop.
I am so old. I'm so old. Wait, let me get my walker to show you.
I'm so old. I remember the 90s. Like, wait a minute, that's not old. Or maybe because I'm getting old myself, nothing's gonna be old. That's it. 78 is young, as I say to myself. So Anjl Rodee, thank you so much for being on the show. Before we get out of here, though, as New Amsterdam rated, we have some department questions. I'm gonna have a fun lightning round. Hopefully you're down to play. Because if you say no, the show will be kind of an awkwardly ending. Like, nah, I'm over it. I'm fine. Do you believe in days off? And if so, how do you celebrate them?
Oh my gosh, I believe in them, but do I take them? Rarely. But then again, I paint for a living. What, seriously? What am I going to do on my day off? I'll go paint.
By the way, can I buy your paints? Are your branded paints?
Yeah, they're my branded paints. Yeah. Yeah.
So where do I go for that? What's the website?
On my website, but we'll talk. We'll talk.
We got to do the whole social media wrap up anyway. The show. I'm a professional, I swear. Everyone collects something. What do you collect?
Oh my gosh, snow globes. I have over 1,000 snow globes.
Whoa! What made you decide to go to snow globes?
They're kitschy and they're nostalgic. These are two things I love so much. I started collecting them when I was fairly young, and then all of a sudden people were collecting them for me. But and then I bought a small batch in bulk. But I have well over 1,000. I love to travel, so it's a way of taking those little places home with me. Yeah.
Is there like a qualifications that like, oh, that's a snow globe, but it's not part of my collection? Or you're like, I'm taking everything?
When I do the traveling, I'll take anything. If like I will look for them in thrift stores as well. I don't want the ones that with little ceramic figures in them unless they're scary, creepy. Speaking of scary and creepy, I also collect ugly Santas. 1940s toys are terrifying.
Hey, just because Santa's pants were plain doesn't mean he's ugly. Ma'am. No, I'm just kidding. That's fine. How'd you get to that?
I can't even, I don't even, how did I find the first one? I am sure it was at a thrift store, and I'm just like, this is terrifying. I have to own it. And every year I go on eBay or I hunt the thrift stores and find a 1950s, 40s or 50s Santa Claus toys are just terrifying. And I spread them around my house for the holidays.
Wait, if they're terrifying, why?
I don't know why.
Scaring the children is what you're doing.
One is a little plastic chimney and the Santa's inside it, and he comes out with his bag of toys in slow motion with his little bag of toys.
Yeah.
Creepy as hell.
So I have to ask, like, if Santa's in the snow globe, does it qualify if he's ugly? Would you collect that?
Ooh. Well, I don't want it to look like crafty cutesy is not my thing. It's got kitschy. Yeah. If it's kitschy, I'm in.
So horror Santa or 1950s
horror
Santa.
Ooh, horror Santa. That's my new Google this year.
Oh, what is going on? Okay, so what is on your travel bucket list? Where do you actually want to go visit?
Oh, well, I'm going on safari in March, so that's been a bucket list thing. Let's see, is there anything else? India. I would love to see India.
Any particular part of India? I mean, India's
so big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
No particular part, just wherever I can get there. I love to travel, and I love to sketch the place when I get there, and then make a journal page out of the sketch that I did.
Yeah.
That is my hobby time thing to do. Yeah.
Hey, that's cool. And
Yeah.
last, I always tell people this is the most difficult question of all time. What is your favorite junk food?
Oh, I'm good. Prindeville dip. Let me explain. That's my daughter-in-law's mom's maiden name. So it's a potato chip dip that is made from cream cheese and garlic salt and a little milk.
Yeah.
Oh man, I could eat that by the buckets.
So do you have to go
With a
go
dip.
to do you have to go to your dealer, or do you make it yourself? Do you have to
No,
get the
I got a dealer. It's my daughter-in-law. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
She's my hookup.
Just making
I
sure.
can't make it as well.
I didn't know you were like, it's that time again. I need 2 orders.
Oh,
But
she
this
makes
is
a bucket just for me.
that's when you know it's true love. When you find something you love and your
Right?
brain does it
Oh,
for you.
so good.
Hey, Joe, this has been a lot of fun, but now's the fun part. If somebody wants to connect with you or buy those paints, how do they go about doing that?
Yeah, brushcapades.com. Go there, reach out on the socials. My name is spelled super weird, and that was a 14-year-old decision. But I'm highly Googleable, and as a business owner, that's awesome. So just Google me, write to me. I will get you the stuff. I also teach public classes on Tuesday nights.
Oh,
So
wow. See,
join
yeah.
those.
As someone named Flobo, I totally get how good to be able to search a name on Google and what that means for your business. But this does it for New Amsterdam Rare, the podcast for creators. We got to have you back in a future episode. It's a lot of fun. I want to dive deep into what projects you're working on in the future. Hopefully you come back if you can make it happen. It'd be a lot of fun either way.
I love it.